December 22nd, Bob Gorley with Rick Rathfon,
Yes, sir.
who was the chairman of the Clarion County Republican Committee for 13 years before he stepped down. This is podcast number 118, and it's Bob's Truth Seekers. So, can you tell us about your background, Rick?
Well, I'm a 71 graduate of North Clarion High School. I coached basketball there for a number of years. I coached girls basketball in the Clarion area for 6 years, and in 1992, our girls team made it to the state championship game. We lost in the state championship game to a Catholic school, but don't even get me started on that. And I'm Catholic. But and then I've been out of coaching for a long time. But 3 years ago, Bobby Simpson, the best player that I ever coached, and asked me to join her junior high staff at North Clarion so I could coach her daughter. And so I did that, and so now I'm on my third year coaching junior high girls at North Clarion. I was the head coach this year. I'm going to be back next year. We've got a great group of kids. In my working life, I spent almost 19 years at Car-Made Trailers in Leeper, Pennsylvania. I was the director of sales. We had a dealer network all over the Northeast and up into Canada. I retired from there in 2016, so I've been retired for 9 years. I play a lot of golf. Heading to Myrtle Beach soon to play some more golf and get out of this cold and snow. And I'm back as a Clarion County chair. I've returned in October. I left because, well, I don't want to get into a whole lot, but it had to do with Trump derangement syndrome and with my daughter-in-law, and I came to the conclusion that it's her problem, not mine, and I returned as chairman. So I'm back as chairman of the Clarion County Republican Committee.
Well, that was news to me. So after 13 years of herding Republican cats in Clarion County and growing the party like it was on steroids, what's the secret?
Well, I think the biggest thing was when I became chairman, I told all the committee people that there weren't going to be any cliques, there weren't going to be any special meetings, there weren't going to be any behind-the-scenes stuff, that everything we were going to do was going to be on our monthly meetings in front of God and everybody. And I think that was a good start for it. And our committee, it keeps growing. And then, registering voters. On the even number years, presidential and governor years, we have a headquarters. In 2024, we blew the registration numbers out of the water. Clarion County had never had 3 state committee people. We only had the chairman and 1 state committee person forever. But in 2024, we blew those numbers out so good that now in 2026, we will get a 3rd state committee person for the first time ever in Clarion County. So I'm real proud of that. But there again, it wasn't just me. I've got a great committee. I've got great people that work hard, and it was definitely a team effort. But our committee's definitely growing.
So you're saying it was not the spring breakfast pancakes that did it? or just threatening everyone with extra fair booth duty? Yeah,
no, I don't think so. I mean, there again, we have a booth at the Clarion County Fair every year. We always have good representation in the Autumn Leaf Festival parade. We had a booth this year at Farmers and Crafters Day that was well received, and it was interesting. We had a big whiteboard there, and the question was Charlie Kirk a hero? And if you felt that he was, you put a red mark, and if you didn't think he was a hero, you put a blue mark. And I can tell you, Bob, I could tell whoever was walking up to that board what they were going to do. Before they ever picked up a marker, I knew it was going to be either red or blue. And it pretty much turned out that way, but there was probably 10-to-1 red marks to blue marks. So
I kind of considered Charlie Kirk as being like John the Baptist. He was so well liked, and they killed John the Baptist and they killed Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, they sure did. And and the thing that I always liked about Charlie Kirk, that people that slammed him, he would take a guy towards the back of the line that disagreed with him and move him to the front of the line, and he'd want to interact with him, not yell at him, but why do you feel the way you feel, and can I change your attitude, can I change your ideas, and he was very engaging with everybody. I mean, not just people that agreed with him, but especially people that didn't agree with him.
Clarion County is now about 70% Republican. Congratulations on basically turning it into a red paradise. What's your advice for the other 30%?
Well, they need to come home. They need to come home and join us. To be honest with you, I don't know how anybody, with the Democrat Party being taken over by the likes of AOC and the Squad and they're just so far out there that I just don't understand how anybody with half a brain can be a Democrat anymore. I mean, the Democrat Party today is not the Democrat Party of the 50s, 60s, even into the 70s and 80s. I mean, they are way, way out there. And, they want to have men and women's sports, which I'm 100% against. When I started coaching at North Clarion, I told Bobby Simpson Freeman, I said, there's one thing that I absolutely won't do. And she said, what's that? And I said, if some boy shows up the first day of practice and wants to play on the girls' team, either he goes or I do, because I ain't coaching him. And she said, oh, Coach, that can't happen here. And I said, you know what? I don't know anymore. I never thought I would see the day that my high school that I graduated from would have a metal detector. If you go to a volleyball game or a basketball game, you have to put all your stuff into a bin and walk through a metal detector to even get into a basketball game or a volleyball game at little old North Clarion High School. And I never thought I would ever see that.
You've censored big names like Toomey and Ridge back in the day. On a scale of 1 to 10 to local GOP drama, how does that compare to dealing with precinct captains who forget to pick up your yard signs?
There again, boy, we've got a great committee. I mean, we really have not had, in my 13 years, we really haven't had anybody that was, how do I want to say, a rabble-rouser or causing trouble or, and I think the main reason for it, Bob, is like I said, when we have our monthly meetings, I mean, we conduct all our business right there in front of everybody. There's no hidden agendas. There's no backroom things. I mean, everything we do is right in front of everybody, and I think that's what's made our committee so strong over the years. And one of our best members, and he just joined us in 24, is Guy Steele, and he actually took over as chairman when I stepped aside for a couple of months. But he went out the day after the election, and he went out and picked up all the yard signs, and he did a great job picking up the signs. So I just feel very blessed with the committee that we have.
As a new alternate delegate to the Republican National Convention, what's the biggest difference between a national GOP shindig and a Clarion County fall banquet?
Well, I'll tell you, when I was elected to go to the Republican National Convention in 24, I felt that was one of the great honors of my lifetime, and it was really something to see. It was incredible, and of course, we went the day, the convention basically started the day after Trump was shot in Butler, and my wife was afraid of me going there, and I said, honey, that's probably going to be the safest place on earth. And it really was. I mean, there was Secret Service, there was Homeland Security people, there was state police from Wisconsin, city police. There were police from all over the country there, Bob. I was amazed. Miami-Dade had a dozen officers there in uniform. The security was really tight. The events were great. The Pennsylvania delegation is one of the largest delegations, and everybody that we talked to there, when they would see your credential and see that you were from Pennsylvania, everybody would say, oh, Pennsylvania's it. If Trump wins Pennsylvania, he wins. You guys got to get it done. So it was a great experience. Since we had such a large delegation, we had a hotel all to ourselves. We didn't have to share with any other states. Every day we had a breakfast. One day we had Eric Trump spoke at our breakfast. Another day, his wife Lara Trump spoke at our breakfast. Donald Trump Jr. spoke at our breakfast. So we had a lot of heavy hitters come and speak at our morning breakfast every day. So it was a wonderful experience. Now, as an alternate, I got to go down. Actually, the first day on Monday, there were some delegates didn't show up, and I actually got to be down on the floor and be part of the voting the whole first day of the convention. So that was really a bonus for me. So, but yeah, it was really something.
Speaking of something, what happened in the 2020 election in Pennsylvania?
Well, if anybody believes that Joe Biden got 81 million votes, I got some beach property in Arizona that I'd sell you. I mean, it was stolen. There's no question it was stolen. The Democrats are never going to believe that. But you got a senile old man who's got dementia, gets 81 million votes. Sorry, I ain't buying into that.
And when he wasn't running, no one's ever got that many votes ever.
No, yeah. No, it was... I just couldn't. Well, and there were votes that disappeared. When I went to bed that night, Trump was well in the lead, and I thought, oh, yeah, we're in good shape. And I get up the next morning, and Biden's the president, and I'm thinking, how the heck did that happen?
Wasn't he winning by 800,000 votes or something?
Yeah, something crazy. Yeah.
Okay, after all these years organizing headquarters openings and candidate meet and greets, if you could add one event to the Clarion GOP calendar, what would it be?
Well, 2026 is going to be a big year because we have a governor election, and of course Josh Shapiro is running for re-election, and we are already 100% behind Stacey Garrity, our state treasurer, running for governor, and my goal is to have her here in Clarion County multiple times this year. I hope to get her to come to the fair. I hope to get her to come to our banquet. I hope to get her to the Autumn Leaf Festival parade. As you know, she's a decorated Army veteran, and I already have a big Army deuce and a half lined up to haul her through the parade route. So I'm already planning for the Autumn Leaf Festival parade in 2026. So to me, that's the biggest thing is if we can get Stacey Garrity over the finish line as our next governor and have a female governor in the state of Pennsylvania, that will end Josh Shapiro's career. That'll end him running for president in 2028. So that's the goal.
What was the funniest mishap you had since you've been 13 years and now back into it as like a candidate speech going wrong, or someone mistaking the GOP tent for the Democrat tent, or what's one of your funny things?
We always get some funny stuff at the Clarion County Fair, and I know you've been there many times. And there was a lady that showed up at our booth, and she was a staunch Democrat, and she was looking for a fight, and so we had a little conversation for a little while. And it got to a point where I said, you drank the liberal Kool-Aid way too much. I said, you know what, I'm done with you. And I did one of these. I said, I'm done with you. And I turned around and walked away. And I told my other people that were in our tent there, I said, you have the con, you're in charge. I says, I got to get away from this woman. So that was, it was confrontational, but it ended up being kind of funny.
So back in February 2021, Clarion County was the first in Pennsylvania to unanimously censure Pat Toomey for his impeachment vote antics. Was that the fastest you've ever gotten a committee to agree on anything?
Yeah, it was quick and it was easy. Our committee was, everybody was really upset with that, and that was one of the easiest votes. Most of the votes we take are pretty easy. They're usually on board with us, but that was one that it was a no-brainer. It went down really quick. Yeah, we were one of the first counties in the state to censure Toomey.
Did you hire a lawyer to draft that, or did you do it yourself?
We have a couple of lawyers that have connections with our committee, that they help draft the terminology for us. Yeah, smart people, smarter than me, that's for sure.
Just a week or so after the Toomey censure, the committee went after Governor Tom Ridge for backing Biden in that Lincoln Project mess. That's two big names that you censured in 1 month. Were you going for a record or just clearing out the rhinos?
Well, we just felt there again it was the right thing to do. You know, I mean, Ridge was our former governor, but there again, there's times in our party, in the Republican Party, call them rhinos, whatever you want. I call it. A lot of us call it the uniparty. You know, I mean, they align. They're supposed to be Republicans, and they align with Democrats, and I don't have any time for people like that. And there again, the folks on our committee, we don't have any rhinos on our committee. We got staunch conservative Republicans. I mean, you know, the structure of our county, Bob, I think you'd agree. I mean, they're church-going, God-fearing people that they just want to work hard and provide for their families and try to keep government small and out of the way. And you know, so yeah, we weren't looking for a record. We just felt we were doing the right thing.
Multiple counties followed Clarion's lead on censoring Toomey, like Butler and York and Washington, and you name it. Did you feel like a trendsetter back then?
Well, I mean, I actually had a number of county chairs contact me after we did our censure. They wanted to see our document so they could kind of adapt it as their own. So yeah, I guess in a way we were, and there again, some of them were a lot bigger counties than ours. You know, we only have 37,000 people in Clarion County. I mean, there in the southeast, there are some precincts that have more voters than our county does, which is shocking to me, and maybe a lot of people don't even realize that.
The state GOP ultimately just rebuked Toomey instead of a full censure after some Zoom glitches. Were you disappointed that they didn't go all in like Clarion did, or relieved that not everyone had your committee's unanimous fire?
I felt they were weak. I felt they caved a little bit for Toomey, and I just felt that the state GOP was weak about it. I mean, you know, there again, going to state committee for 13 years, you know, you get to know a lot of people, and a lot of people that I trust and a lot of people that I don't trust. And I don't trust hardly anybody out of that southeast. Philadelphia, I mean, you've got the collar counties, you've got Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, Delaware. I always feel like when we're at state committee, those people kind of look down their nose at us up here in the stick. You know, we're a bunch of stump jumpers. We're a bunch of hicks, you know, and you know, and they don't intimidate me, and I'm not afraid of them, and I actually kind of look down my nose at them because they're so high and mighty, and you know, when it comes to these elections, you know, counties like ours, and we have a conservative county coalition of rural counties that meet a couple of times a year, and you know, we feel like we're the ones that do the heavy lifting when it comes to an election. If we lose elections in Pennsylvania, it's usually because of Philly and the collar counties and Allegheny that they don't do their part. They don't carry their weight. That we're the ones that got to get it done.
It does seem like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh control the elections.
I've always felt that if we could somehow give Philadelphia and the collar counties to New Jersey, we'd be a red state forever.
Censuring a sitting U.S. senator and a former governor from little old Clarion County, that's some serious small town swagger. What's the funniest reaction you got from outsiders like, wait, Clarion who? Or did the national news finally put you on the map?
Well, the Epic Times contacted us. We didn't really get any media contact from like any of the Pittsburgh stations or anything like that. But the Epic Times, they did a big interview with me, and then some of the other counties that followed suit. So there again, the Epic Times is a very conservative paper. So,
on a personal note, what was your best golf score ever?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. I mean,
from the weight tees?
Well, back in the day, now I'm going back a long years at high level. You know, that's where I learned the game, was at high level golf course. And the best score I ever had there, and I was playing with my dad and my father-in-law. And I shot 27 on the front. I had 8 threes, a 4, or 7 threes, a 4 and a 2 for 27. And then I shot 37 on the back for 64. And my dad, if you knew my father, there was no such thing as a gimme. Everything's got to hit the bottom of the cup. And when I putted out on 18 for 64, he just looked at me and winked and said, "Nice round." So that was there. Now at Clarion Oaks, from the blue tees, my best score ever was 70, 2 under par. From the white tees, my best score was 69. From the gold tees, my best score was 65. And now that I'm 72 and on the silver tees, I did have a 64 off the silver tees this year.
So you've had 2 64s in your life?
2 64s, yeah. Yep.
Well, is there any suggestions you have for the youth around the area?
Well, I think there again with Charlie Kirk's assassination, I know there's been a big outpouring around the country of starting chapters of Turning Point USA, and I would just recommend, there again, my basketball team. I've got junior high girls, and I don't try to indoctrinate them to my way of thinking any more than I think some schools try to indoctrinate kids to the left. I just try to get them to have an open mind, think for themselves, and they should be able to figure out what's right and what's wrong, and what's good and what's bad. And if they figure all that stuff out, hopefully they're going to end up on our side of the aisle at some point.
Well, thank you for taking some time for this podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
See you later.